Hello everyone! So if you're freaking out because you're actually seeing me on camera and you're definitely not used to that, I have just uploaded a video explaining the decision and what is going to change in the future, and it's actually also a Q&A, so if you're curious about certain questions that have never been answered, you can go to that video right now before you watch this one. So today we are going to talk about 10 study habits that pay off, or study habits that I've implemented into my history degree or my master's thesis. So either way, these are all things that I've done in the past, and I can guarantee that it will make a difference if you try them. If sometimes you see me looking down, it's because I have my script right here and I'm still not used to this filming in front of the camera thing, so this video is going to be a little awkward. So my first tip is to develop a study plan or a study guide per course. This is something you can do easily at the beginning of the semester when your teachers or professors hand out the syllabi. The syllabi is basically an overview of the chapters and the content you're going to be lectured on during the semester, so creating a plan beforehand will be really helpful so you can understand what you can study, what kind of study sessions you can schedule beforehand, and overall it will give you a good impression of what you need to study, when, and to the amount of depth dedicated to each section of your study plan. The second habit you should implement right away is learning how to read outside of the mandatory readings or the mandatory books. Currently, online you have tons of articles, of papers and journals that talk about an infinite number of topics on the research field. Knowing your way around these kinds of academic papers and complementing all of your mandatory materials with these kinds of readings will grant a new level of depth to your answers in exams or midterms, and it will pay off in the long term. The third habit is to learn how to time batch your studying according to course. This is actually something that I did not do in law school and I started doing in my history degree, and as of now I feel like it's paying off. So what I do now is, instead of dividing each study section per course or per subject, I try to dedicate each day of the week to a certain specific subject. So that means, for instance, in my case in history, I try to on Mondays study for pre-classical history, on Tuesdays for classical history, on Wednesdays for prehistoric history, and so on. Batching for each type of topic or course allows you to keep the same mindset throughout your study session. Instead of constantly breaking your focus because you have to study for different things and you need a different mindset for each type of course, by maintaining the same mindset throughout the entire session, you're actually able to be way more productive and do your work in a shorter amount of time. In fourth place, we have preparing classes. I think this is so important because preparing a class beforehand makes your lectures count so much more on the long run. Preparing for a class basically means that in case your professor provides any materials beforehand, you skim through your materials, you look at the PowerPoints, you try to make some notes in case you have the time to do so, but overall you can go to your lecture and already know what it's going to be about, and you're way much more prepared to understand whatever information is going to be lectured, and your notes will be way more organized because you can already predict what kind of structure the lecture is going to have. My fifth habit is to do review on weekends only. When I was in law school, at least, I definitely did not have my Saturdays available for fun stuff. So Saturdays were my review day, and Sundays were the days I could dedicate for family life, to be with friends, my hobbies, and so on. However, Saturday is a really good day for you to gather all of the materials and all of your notes from the week and start reading them and understand how they interconnect and how they relate to other sources like in your textbooks, articles. The best way to manage your time as a student is to time batch your studying during the week, and then on the Saturday make a major review session on the morning or in the afternoon, so you can really consolidate all that information and then start a new week with a fresh start without worrying about not understanding previously learned material. My seventh tip is to create your personal studying or learning area. I know that not everyone has the ability to create a study space in their home, and you need to go outside to a library or to your school. I remember that when I was in high school, I always went to the same library, and I always pick the same table. Having that specific space saved for me, despite not being at home, always put me into the mood for studying whenever I arrive there. And I think you can do this either in your current school, in your library, in your home, and so on. Just try to customize it as much as you can and create a habit of going there. Tip or habit number 8 is to use your dominant learning style. Everyone has a dominant learning style. Even when your teachers tell you to listen to them without writing notes, that's a huge mistake if you're not an auditive learner. I'm not an auditive learner. When I'm writing and creating visual aids for my learning method, that's when I can retain information the better. If you're like me, you'll always benefit from mind maps, note-taking, visual aids, tables, diagrams, and so on. If you're an auditive learner, perhaps that kind of visual aids will actually distract you. So you need to understand when and how you can memorize information better and not fight against yourself. If you're an auditive learner, you should not be trying to make study materials all the time because it will do more harm than good. Habit number 9 is to use critical thinking to your benefit. Critical thinking mainly means that when you're in a lecture or you're reading a textbook or an article, you're actually thinking about the subject. You're just not accepting whatever you're reading, you are analyzing it and you're criticizing it. You can then transport all of that personal analyzing into paper, and actually creating those notes creates a different connection between whatever you're reading or whatever you're listening to and the interpretation you are making of it. That interpretation then will make you feel way more aware of the materials, and in your evaluation, despite it being a paper, a test, or an exam, you'll actually remember that part way much more because you've used that critical thinking. Finally, you need to practice active learning. Active learning basically means that you should actually be doing stuff in order to learn whatever you need to learn. Instead of just passively reading your textbooks, or instead of just passively listening to people, or passively writing notes without even noticing whatever you're writing, you should try to do some problem solving on your own. In fact, if you want to develop your active learning and problem solving capabilities, there's no one out there better than Brilliant to help you with that. Brilliant is a platform where you can find full-fledged courses on maths and sciences and thousands of problems with step-by-step guides and interactive quizzes to help you actively improve your knowledge. Even when you lack the time to sit down in front of your computer for a longer period of time to delve into their courses, Brilliant now features daily problems, which are quick and allow you to learn something new every single day. Each daily problem provides you with the context and the framework that you need to tackle it, with animations, illustrations, and interactive visualizations so that you learn the concepts by applying them. If you like the problem and want to learn more, there's a course quiz that explores the same concept in greater detail. For instance, one of the daily problems allows you to calculate whether you should walk or run in windy rain, but if you're feeling curious about the topic, you can always explore the physics of the everyday course, which includes 40 interactive quizzes and more than 400 guided problems and explanations. If you're confused and need more guidance, there's a community of thousands of learners discussing the problems and writing solutions. Daily problems are thought-provoking challenges that will lead you from curiosity to mastery, one day at a time. To finally get better at math and start doing stuff at a practical level, you can go to brilliant.org/Mariana and sign up for free. If you're lucky enough to be one of the first 200 people that go to that link, you'll get 20% off the annual premium subscription. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you want to learn more about productivity, organization, and lifestyle, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next week. Bye!